Good afternoon. Today is December 8th, and this is the class of World History for second year, the Roman Republic. First of all, we'll begin the class with a map showing again location of the area that we'll be studying. Last week, we studied the Roman as general with the early civilizations of the Etruscan. Then today we're going to study the Roman Republic, and next week we'll study the Roman Empire. The objectives of this class: how the Roman government was organized, how the Roman Republic was able to expand and protect its territory, how the economy and government changed, and how the Roman Republic was saved. Organizations of the Romans. We always begin with what we left off last class. We talked about the last ruler that was Tarquin. He was overthrown and the Republic was formed with a type of government that the people decided to. This republic was divided into classes, social classes, patricians and plebeians. Patricians were the members of the oldest and richest family, and plebeians were the poorest people, the poorest. We consider those farmers and artisans. They were also citizens, of course. Then we're going to see the differences between patricians and plebeians in the Senate, where it was formed. Government. The head of the Roman Republic was consuls, that were the administrators, the Senate, that were around 300 members chosen for life, and then tribunes, judges, and assemblies, that were government officials who protected plebeians. Then we have this picture that this is important to share and compare those to what we have in our country and referring to the Senate. Then we talked about the 12 tables. What are they? They were tables in which laws were carved, were they placed in the forum and were applied to both patricians and plebeians. They consisted of wills, property rights, and court actions. We're also going to talk about the Roman expansion, how this all began, how Romans began to conquer the complete Italian peninsula, and we're talking about 290 BC. Then we have that before with the Etruscans, they had the conquer of the city of the country of Italy. It was only the peninsula from the middle to the north. And then when the Roman Republic was formed, then we have the complete peninsula was ruled by these Romans, okay? It became to be one of the most important areas around the world. Roman had a very strong army organized into legions. They have legionnaires. They also have rulers, meaning that they had to conquer people, keeping their government and take care of their own affairs. Then we have the new map here as we're going to talk about the Punic Wars. We have the Mediterranean and we have all the area that was conquered by Romans. What were the Punic Wars? There were 3 wars. They began between the Romans and the Carthaginians. This is a city, or Carthage is a city on the north of Africa. And it was a very important city during those days for all kinds of trading. It was in the north of Africa in the outskirts in the edge of the Mediterranean Sea. The strength of the Carthaginians military was its navy, and the strength of the Roman was the army. The Romans learned to build ships similar to Carthaginians and added a corvus. Here we're going to explain what was a corvus. It was a movable bridge that they could board on the enemy ship during those days. We have some pictures to show you this. And then we're going to continue saying that the second word, the second Punic, in this case, there was a leader called Hannibal. He could not enter the city of Rome due to the high, strong walls that protected the city. So that these people, while he was trying to attack Rome, the Romans were attacking his city, the Carthage, and the leader Hannibal had to be called home to defend it. 50 years later, Carthage began to gain power and prevent any attacks. Roman controlled Macedonia, Syria, Corinthians, and Greece, and became the leading power of the Mediterranean world. What were the effect of the conquest? There were many changes that came into with this conquest and wealthy of the Roman economy and government. We talked about the agricultural changes, farmers moved to the city, and the increase of power and taxes brought into a rich and poor Romans. What happened? What was the leadership in Rome? Over the next 100 years, many people tried to improve conditions in Rome. And then this is when we have the reformers and the generals. Reformers were Tiberius and Gracchus, and the generals was a triumvirate, which is a group of three people with equal power, and they were conformed by Cornelius, Pompey, and Julius Caesar, which is one of the most important characters that we have heard and we have studied about the Romans. Who was him? Who was Julius Caesar? He was a well-educated politician and he was a soldier. He had both military strength and also strong family alliances. He believed in one man's rule. He was named the governor of the Roman province. He built a strong and loyal army. We have some pictures that we're going to study. Who was him? He was such an important leader here. He made some reforms. One of them was to founded a new colonies overseas. He redistributed the state land in Italy. He gave land to ex-soldiers, also built projects of roads and building in Rome, gave job to many Romans, planned and paid for gladiatorial games, doubled the size of the Senate, adopted a new calendar. He was assassinated on 44 BC. Why do we have the end of the Republic? What happened here? Why do we have to decline with this Republic of Rome? After Julius Caesar's death, the politician power was passed to another triumvirate. This one was formed by three people, and it was Mark Antonius or Mark Antony, Octavian, and Marcus Lepidus. For a while, this triumvirate worked, but then, as always, we have a fight or something, disagreement between them three, and Octavia became the sole ruler of this. So this is for next week that we're going to study the end of the Republic, what happened, what were the consequences, why the declination of that, and of course the beginning of the empire, the Roman Empire. Thank you so much for your attention.